Thursday. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we are live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, on Fox Sports Radio, on FS1. What a pleasure to be here today. Joy Taylor is joining me. We've got breaking news. We'll get to that in about 5 minutes. Stick around. How are you, Joy?
Doing great. We were right about that game last night.
We both were. Yeah, we thought Toronto would win the game. You know, it's been now officially proven that if the Warriors don't have the best player in the world and maybe the 10th best player in the world, they can't beat a really good Toronto team. But I want to start with this. Last night was a 3.5-hour advertisement for the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. For Kyrie Irving to stay in Boston and for Kevin Durant to stay in Golden State. Steph Curry had an all-time night, 47 points. Little guy, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Almost perfect from the free throw line. 6 of 14 on threes. 45% from the field. Being double-teamed. And having the ball 43 minutes. Only 3 turnovers. It was absolutely magnificent. And even with Steve Kerr as a head coach, even with Draymond Green, Iggy and Boogie Cousins, and even being at home, game wasn't really that competitive. And Kyrie Irving, you want to leave all that talent, Brad Stevens, that arena, that history, go play by yourself in Brooklyn? Oh, that's adorable. Kevin Durant, you want to go to New York, play with Kevin Knox? That's just cute. But Colin, they could play together. So what? Steph Curry last night had Draymond Green, Iggy, Steve Kerr at home. It's not like Steph was out there with a bunch of scrubs. Draymond Green's going to be a Hall of Famer. Steve Kerr's going to be a Hall of Famer as a coach. Game wasn't competitive at home. By the way, Steph Curry could do what he did last night all the time. He could be Westbrook. He could be Harden. But the reason Steph Curry actively recruited Kevin Durant was last night. Because you can drop 47, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, almost no turnovers, 43 minutes, 13 of 14 free throws, hit a bunch of threes, almost 50% from the floor, with a Hall of Fame coach and Draymond and Iggy, and it's not competitive. Spectacular, you the man, loser. By the way, LeBron James last year, that's why I left Cleveland, had a 51-point game in the finals, game 1. Do you remember that? It's one of LeBron's greatest games ever. But the memory of it is him screaming at J.R. Smith and losing. You ever notice Michael Jordan's highlights are all from games he won? It's funny how that works. You want to be a winner or do you want to be the man? I want to be a winner. I want to win. I want to have a great owner and a great coach and great teammates. Last night, Steph Curry was unbelievable, and it meant nothing. John Wall, Derrick Rose, I don't recruit. Westbrook, my best friend's the ball. Steph's like, get me KD. Get me Boogie. Get me the best players. That game really wasn't competitive last night. It wasn't. You can try to convince yourself, but did you ever really feel that Golden State could make a big stop in that game? No, they didn't have this Klay Thompson. They didn't have Kevin Durant. Both very good defenders. Klay, spectacular defender. That was an advertisement for Kyrie. The grass isn't greener. Go to Brooklyn. Knock yourself out. Be the man and win 32 games. Go ahead, Kevin. Go to New York. It's great for your brand. Although I'd argue the better thing for your brand is holding up that finals MVP trophy every year. That is great for your brand. If you're out there seeking some sort of external validation, congratulations. But, after the game, Steph Curry nailed it.
We can play better, obviously, better on the defensive end. But I like the competitiveness that we had. Understanding, we're missing 50 points pretty much between KD and Klay. So we'll adjust, and it's a long series. It's going to be fun for us.
It is going to be fun. I have no doubt in my mind that Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, if they play in Game 4, Golden State will even it up. And I think they'll probably bring back Klay. I doubt they bring back Kevin Durant unless he's perfect, because they could still push him off to 5, 6, and 7 in one of those games at Golden State. But that was an advertisement. You go ahead. You go be the man. Score a bunch of points. Get 47 points. I guarantee you Westbrook and Harden would take Steph Curry's wins any day now in retrospect. Well, there was a moment in last night's game. You know how I am about hecklers at comedy shows and about fans who touch players. Ban them for life. I don't go and pay money to watch hecklers at comedy shows or watch obnoxious fans. Last night, Kyle Lowry. Now, I will acknowledge Kyle Lowry is like James Harden without the talent. He's annoying. But he went into the stands, and a fan put his hands on him. And this morning, people are saying, Kyle Lowry saying, ban him for life. And I agree with the player. Once again, I agree with the player. The only sport professionally in America where there's no barrier is basketball. It's awesome. Hockey's got that glass. Golf's got a rope. Football's got a wall and distance. Baseball's got a lower wall, sometimes less distance. But in basketball, you're right on the floor. And some people can't handle it. By the way, this fan wasn't some dope. He's one of the richest people in the world. He's a part owner of the team, Mark Stevens. Mark Stevens should never, ever be allowed to have a courtside seat again. And frankly, if I was Adam Silver, I'd take him out of the ownership circle. I'd get him out of there, have him bought out. Joe Lacob's got enough money, buy him out, get him out. Folks, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've dealt with a lot of fans. And the biggest jerks are almost always the entitled ones. It's not the poor family who can go to one ticket a year, or the middle-class family that feels lucky to be able to take their family to 3 NBA games. It's the rich, entitled jerks, and this guy's a jerk. He feels it's his right. You don't make that move unless you feel it is your right. I am above the player. I own the player. Get him out of the arena forever. And Adam Silver, strongly consider getting him out of the ownership circle if that's how he treats visiting players. Folks, not everybody can handle access. In college football, for years and years, don't bring alcohol in, even though we know everybody's getting drunk out in the parking lot. Why is that? Because some people can't handle a second beer. We see it all the time in America. Some people can't handle access to guns. It's sad, but it's true. And this rich jerk can't handle access to basketball players and stars. Because, you know, he's an owner. He owns players. I'll push opposing players. Sad, but true. Don't ever touch a player. They're a performer. In the worldview of hecklers, and this is why they're all a little off, they always argue, I have a right to heckle the player. Of course, they always lack the self-awareness that I paid the same money you did for the ticket, and I don't want to have you screaming for 4 hours or bothering the stars. If you go to a Broadway play and heckle, you're banned for life. Why in sports do we tolerate any of this nonsense? Well, it's just Colin Drake. Drake is friends with players. Drake is paid by the Raptors to annoy and poke and laugh and, frankly, cheerlead. Don't connect this to Drake. It's not close. And by the way, I didn't like Drake touching the coach of his team. I didn't like that either. But this isn't Drake. This is an aggressive push by an owner. Colin, you're overreacting. No, I am completely consistent on this. Touch a player, out of the arena forever. And I don't care if you're worth $9 billion like Mark Stevens as a venture capitalist. Out forever. And I am Adam Silver. I get him out of the ownership group. He's public. He is known. You could take a stand. You could now make people go, oh, wow, you can't do that. It's like parenting. Sometimes, you know, you've heard Bill Belichick in front of the players yells at Brady in front of the players. Oh, hell. He yells at Brady. Greg Popovich embarrassed Tim Duncan in front of the players to make a point. Take an owner, bad behavior, we usually associate with, you know, some schmucky guy, had too many beers. Take the owner out. Make a point. This is becoming a habit, an ugly habit, and I have no patience for it whatsoever. Mark Stevens is his name, should never be allowed in an NBA arena again. You'd throw the guy out in the upper deck. You'd throw out the bartender in the second deck. You'd throw out the middle-class guy. You'd throw out the poor guy, but you won't throw out the rich guy. Bad, bad look for the NBA. All right, coming up next. Did I make my point firmly there?
Yep, I totally agree.
Sorry if I'm a little intense. This is one of these things, man. I don't get worked up over much. I get worked up over that. Because if that guy was working in a warehouse, you'd throw him out of the arena and have no problem with it. Don't, because he's a venture capitalist, say, well, I mean, he does own. He should be held to a significantly higher standard than the guy that works at a warehouse or a longshoreman, a cop, a fireman, a forklift operator. That guy, after a couple of beers, you're like, yeah, he regrets it. This guy should know better. Plus, he was wearing Warrior socks. Grow up, you're 50. Jesus, loser. Coming up next, there's a story out. Kawhi Leonard signing with Toronto. We'll address it next. That's coming up. Here's something interesting. Studies show that security systems deter burglars. Okay, it's a fact. But there's still a burglary every 8 seconds in America, which is kind of frightening, right? Well, that's because there's only 17% of people have security. And those people that don't have it generally don't have it because they think the price is brutal. And the other thing is they think it's annoying and hard to put up. But Simply Safe isn't. Okay, Simply Safe is $15 a month. No contract, no hidden fee. So the financial fears, they're off. Here's the second thing. 24/7 monitoring. You get it up within 45 minutes. No tools, no wires, no wacky installation window. Okay, protect your